Ladies and gentlemen, before I tell you anything today, let me give you a truth most people don't like hearing. 98% of people fail. Not because life is unfair, but because they keep choosing the comfortable lie instead of the uncomfortable truth. Let me show you what I mean. Every morning, your alarm rings, and in that 3-second window, destiny gives you two options. Become the 2% or become the 98%. And what do most people do? They slap the snooze button. Let me give you a relatable example. Have you seen people who buy a treadmill in January? They spend money like they're building a home gym empire. For 2 days, they run like they're preparing for the Olympics. Day 3, they hang clothes on it. By day 7, the treadmill is not equipment anymore. It becomes a very expensive hanger. This is the story of the 98%. They get excited easily. They quit even faster. Meanwhile, the 2%, they have the same problems, same fears, same laziness, same Netflix temptations. But they treat their goals like a crying baby. You can ignore it for a moment, but eventually you must get up and handle it. Look at Lionel Messi. Even with insane talent, he still practices free kicks after training when everyone has already gone home. Look at Taylor Swift. The reason she's dominating the world is not luck. She writes songs daily, edits endlessly, rehearses every detail of her shows for months. They all had one thing in common: consistency when nobody was watching. That is how you join the 2%. Think about this. Someone says, "I'm going to learn editing." They watch 10 tutorials, but they don't practice even one clip. They want to become experts without doing the boring reps. Or someone says, "I'll save money." Day 1, they save. Day 2, they save. Day 3, they see a discount on shoes. Now their entire financial plan collapses. Most people stop because of 3 killers: excuses, emotions, and ego. Excuses tell them not today. Emotions tell them I don't feel like it. Ego tells them I already know this. That is why they stay exactly where they are. Look at people winning today. Not the superstars, everyday people. The friend who quietly goes for a 20-minute walk every day and suddenly loses weight without posting anything. The student who studies just 1 hour daily and ends up topping the exam while everyone else panics the last night. The person who saves small amounts every month while others wait for a perfect time that never comes. These are the silent, unglamorous habits that build the 2%. Meanwhile, the 98% keep waiting for motivation like it's a bus. If I feel inspired, I'll start. If you wait for inspiration, you will wait your whole life. Ladies and gentlemen, success isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's not fireworks. It's the small choices you make when no one is watching. That's what separates the 2% from the rest. And now, let's break down how those small choices completely transform a life. Ladies and gentlemen, now that you understand the tiny choices that separate the 2% from the 98%, let's go deeper. Because people don't fail overnight. Failure creeps in slowly, quietly, one small choice at a time. Think about it. Someone decides, "I'm going to improve my health." They buy a yoga mat, download a workout app, and get ready to crush it. Day 1, full energy, full effort. Day 2, still okay. Day 3, maybe just 10 minutes. Day 4, the yoga mat becomes a laundry rack, and the app collects digital dust. Or someone says, "I'll finally start saving money." They save $10 today, $10 tomorrow, and then a friend invites them out. Or a good deal appears online, and suddenly the entire plan disappears. Or take learning a skill. YouTube has thousands of tutorials. People watch 10 of them, and then they feel like experts. But when it comes to practicing even a single thing, suddenly it's too hard. This is the 98% in action. Small habits slowly eating away progress. Meanwhile, the 2%, they don't wait for motivation. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They just show up day after day, even when it's boring. Look at someone like Chris Hemsworth training for Thor. He didn't magically wake up looking ripped. Every day he followed a grueling routine, sometimes when he didn't feel like it. The results came after consistency, not excitement. Or take Emma Chamberlain, the YouTuber. She started with tiny videos, often messy, with almost no audience. But she posted every single day, learned editing, learned camera angles, and slowly became one of the biggest creators. Or even look at someone closer to us, your quiet neighbor who wakes up every day and takes a 20-minute walk. No posts, no likes, just movement. After months, their health improves dramatically, while everyone else waits for the perfect time or perfect motivation. Here's the point. The 2% don't need more time than you. They just use the same 24 hours differently. While the 98% wait for the perfect mood, the 2% build routines that don't depend on mood. While the 98% are controlled by comfort and emotions, the 2% control their environment, remove distractions, and take responsibility for their habits. Because here's the truth. Your future isn't built on inspiration. It's built on your daily defaults. If your default is scrolling, you'll live a scrolling life. If your default is excuses, you'll live an excuse-filled life. If your default becomes small, consistent action, you'll join the 2% before you even notice. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2% don't try to be superhuman. They just stop letting comfort control their life. And once you do that, everything starts to change. Next, I'll tell you the single mindset shift that turns ordinary people into the 2%. And it's simpler than you think. Ladies and gentlemen, by now you know that small choices separate the 2% from the 98%. But there's one thing most people completely miss. It's not just about doing things. It's about thinking differently. Most people fail because they think success will just happen. They think they'll get fit by wishing. They think they'll get smarter by hoping. They think they'll be rich by scrolling on TikTok and imagining it. Here's what actually happens. Then 98% say, I'll start tomorrow. And then tomorrow becomes next week, next month, next year. For example, you know someone who says, I'm going to cook at home and eat healthy. Day 1, they buy all the groceries, post a photo on Instagram. Day 2, they make a salad but add cheese, croutons, and dressing the size of a small planet. Day 3, they're back to ordering pizza like nothing happened. Or the person who says, I'm going to finally clean my email inbox. They delete 20 emails, then get distracted by one funny meme. By the time they notice, the inbox has 5,000 unread emails again. Or the person who says, I'm going to finally talk to that client, ask for a raise, or pitch my idea. They scroll TikTok for 30 minutes, then scroll Instagram, then scroll YouTube, and the opportunity disappears, leaving them frustrated. Meanwhile, the 2% do something simple but powerful. They act immediately, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, even if they feel nervous, lazy, or scared. The 2% understand the magic isn't in big moves. It's in tiny actions repeated daily. Think about a content creator who wants to grow on social media. Instead of waiting for perfect lighting, perfect editing, perfect ideas, they post a small video every day, even if it's messy. Slowly, their audience grows. Slowly, doors open. Slowly, momentum builds. Or someone learning a language. Instead of waiting for a weekend class, they spend 5 minutes every morning practicing phrases on their phone. By the end of the month, they can actually speak basic sentences. While the 98% are still planning to start, even ordinary people show the difference. The neighbor who waters plants every day quietly ends up with the most beautiful garden on the street. The friend who journals for 5 minutes daily becomes mentally sharper than everyone complaining about stress. The colleague who takes tiny notes on every task improves faster than the one trying to cram all work at once. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the mindset of the 2%. Action beats motivation. Tiny steps beat excuses. Consistency beats inspiration. And here's the truth. You don't need a perfect plan, a perfect mood, or perfect conditions. You just need to start today with something so small that it feels almost ridiculous, because that's exactly how momentum begins. Next, we'll look at the exact daily habits and routines that turn ordinary people into the 2% and how you can start them tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, by now you understand the mindset that separates the 2% from the 98%. But mindset alone isn't enough. It's the daily habits, the small things that actually create results. And the truth is, these habits are often boring, tiny, and almost invisible. But they stack up like interest in a bank account, silently building your future. Here's what the 2% do differently. First, they track small wins every day. Not big dramatic milestones, tiny victories. It could be replying to one important email, clearing 5 items from a to-do list, or drinking 1 extra glass of water. These small wins feel insignificant, but they build momentum. Second, they eliminate distractions. Ever notice how most people spend 30 minutes checking emails, 20 minutes scrolling Instagram, 40 minutes watching YouTube? Meanwhile, a simple 5-minute action could have solved the problem entirely. The 2% turn off notifications, set timers, and protect their focus like a secret weapon. Third, they create micro-routines. Instead of "I'll exercise for an hour," they do 10 push-ups in morning. Instead of "I'll read a book," they read 1 paragraph on the bus. Tiny repeatable actions that feel easy, but over time explode into results. Fourth, they learn in tiny bites. Instead of spending hours trying to master 1 skill at once, they spend 15 minutes a day, consistently. Learn 1 new word. Write 1 line of code, draw 1 sketch. A little every day adds up to mastery. Fifth, they review and reflect daily. The 98% never look back. They just complain. The 2% check what worked, what didn't, and adjust tomorrow. Even 5 minutes at night can prevent months of wasted effort. Let's make this relatable. Your friend wants to get better at cooking. The 98% watch TikTok recipes all day. The 2% pick 1 recipe, cook it, mess it up, try again tomorrow. A month later, they're hosting dinner parties. Your colleague wants to be more organized. The 98% plan endlessly, never starting. The 2% spend 10 minutes every evening tidying 1 corner of the desk. A month later, their workspace looks amazing without drama. Your neighbor wants to save money. The 98% wait for the perfect paycheck. The 2% save $2 every day automatically. A year later, they have money they didn't even notice growing. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the secret. The 2% don't have more talent, more time, or more luck. They have better habits. Small, simple, consistent habits that everyone else ignores. And the best part, you don't need to do everything at once. Pick 1 tiny habit. Do it today, repeat tomorrow, and watch your life slowly but steadily start shifting. Next, we'll talk about the final step that turns all these habits and mindset into unstoppable success. And it's simpler than you think. Ladies and gentlemen, we've talked about mindset, habits, small actions. But now comes the final piece of the puzzle. The step that separates the 2% from everyone else. Here it is. Ownership. The 2% take full responsibility for their life. They stop blaming traffic, their boss, the economy, or the Wi-Fi. They stop waiting for someone to hand them motivation or opportunity. Think about it. Someone's work email explodes. The 98% complain, panic, and scroll memes instead of acting. The 2%, they tackle it 1 email at a time. By the end of the day, they're ahead, not just surviving, but winning. Or someone wants to improve their social skills. The 98% say, "I'll wait until I feel confident." The 2% start talking to 1 person, even awkwardly. Every small conversation stacks up into confidence. Even in everyday life, the 2% schedule their week. They plan meals, workouts, bills, and small wins. The 98% hope it works out. Guess who has results? Here's another one. Your phone is full of unfinished apps, unread notifications, half-written messages. The 98% get stressed and ignore it. The 2% clean 1 app, answer 1 message, finish 1 small thing. Tiny wins everywhere, stacking like a secret superpower. And this is the most important part. Ownership turns your habits into momentum. Because once you own your choices, you stop letting excuses run your life. You stop letting laziness control your day. You stop letting comfort be stronger than your dreams. The 2% aren't perfect. They fail. They procrastinate. They get distracted, but they take ownership immediately. Fix it and keep going. Here's the truth. Everything in your life today, your health, your money, your skills, your happiness, is the result of the tiny choices you've made consistently or ignored. So, here's the final challenge, and it's simple. Pick one small action today, just one. Do it, own it, repeat it tomorrow, and before you know it, you've joined the 2%. Ladies and gentlemen, the difference between the 98% and the 2% isn't talent, luck, or opportunity. It's the courage to take small actions every single day and take full ownership of your life. You already have everything you need. All that's left is to start. And remember, the moment you start, you're no longer part of the 98%. You're in the 2%. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to like and subscribe, my friends.